Hello. I'm doing this video to show a timeline of what I've experienced with CarShield and South Oak Dodge in Matteson, Illinois. I got a contract with CarShield. My vehicle, I have a 2007 Chrysler Aspen, 4.7 engine. Runs beautiful. I got a contract with CarShield. I entered into a contractual agreement with them, made my payments and everything. My truck started experiencing problems. It was cold outside, winter was coming, whatever. I turned on my heat, and I smell this funny smell like antifreeze and oil mixing, right? Now, mind you, when you get into a contract with CarShield, they make you send in maintenance receipts showing oil changes and any other work that you performed on your vehicle. They require you to do your regular maintenance to your vehicle and send in receipts, oil changes, whatever you have done. So my vehicle started experiencing problems, right? I take it to the repair shop at South Oak Dodge, and they call in to start the claim. They denied the claim a total of, they denied the claim once. And I called to see if they could relook at their reason for denying the claim. I called at least 19 times. I have call records that show I called 19 times. Each time the person I spoke to, oh no, once they make that decision, it's final, right? So I called, spoke to all the way up to the higher ups, as far as the workers go. So I filed a report with the Better Business Bureau. And then suddenly I got a call from their legal department stating that they in fact would honor the claim to go through, allow the claim to go through. But here's what happened in between that time. When I took my car to South Oak Dodge, I originally took it in because I told them I have a funny smell coming from my, the vents on the inside of the car. It smells like radiator fluid and oil. I checked the dipstick and it looked like peanut butter. Mark, the guy that works, Sidlow, I believe is his name, he says, okay, I'm going to have my people look at it and I'll get back to you. They took the car, they kept the car. The car sat on their lot for 4 to 6 months. When I went to pick up my car, Tom Vick, who is one of the people who work in the repair shop, a repair area, told me that they did a pressure test, a chemical test, a dye test to see if there was any intermix in my engine or going on with my vehicle. The dye test will reveal some color smoke coming out of your exhaust or whatever it is. A pressure test, he said to me, and I have it on recording because when you call me, it clearly states on my voicemail, all calls are recorded for honesty and integrity purposes. So they're notified that they're being, the person that calls me notified that they're being recorded during our conversation. Tom Vick told me we did the pressure test, the chemical test, the dye test, and it revealed that there's no intermix in I checked the dipstick, there was no intermix in your vehicle, and it's fine. My vehicle sat there 4 to 6 months at South Oak Dodge for them to only change the water pump, radiator cap, and the thermostat that CarShield approved for them to fix. When they fixed it, they entered into the agreement with CarShield, the warranty, manufacturer warranty with CarShield. Also, I needed a starter. I bought the starter from AutoZone. I took it up there to them. They installed the starter. It sat there 4 to 6 months. I have the receipts to prove it. Tom Vick gives me the keys and says that the car is fine. My truck, my vehicle is fine, and give me the keys, and I take off. I'm driving it for a short period, and I smell this smell again, but then I get out, and I see oil shooting out everywhere. I drive it back to South Oak Dodge, and I go in with the same complaint. There's intermix in my engine, and now oil is shooting out everywhere. They take my vehicle again, and they hold it onto it, and they inspect it and everything. I get a call back a few months later. I get a call back from Tom Vick saying, it must be a blown head gasket or some internal part of the engine where it's allowing the antifreeze and the oil to mix. That's what I brought it in there for originally, when you told me you did the dye test, the pressure test, the chemical test, and all those tests, which turns out was a lie. Because if you'd done those things, it would have revealed that you just stated to me. Right? Okay, stay with me. So, my car sits there another 4 months. I call up there and ask or inquire as to the progress of what's going on with my vehicle. At this time, I'm back and forth with CarShield. They're telling me, no, the claim's denied. Turns out the people that were doing the claim, that was doing my claim, they never once called South Oak Dodge to get their explanation as to the cause of engine failure, which was my coverage covered internal parts of the engine. And if any of the internal parts of the engine fail, it's covered under my contractual agreement with them, the policy. So what the person did who was handling my claim, he was going on the internet. It was 2 people that was over my claim before it went to the legal department. And they were going based on information on work that was done, that was recorded off of the internet. They never contacted South Oak Dodge to get a mechanical cause of engine failure. What caused the engine to fail? So I guess those 2 people got fired. And then when I hit the Better Business Bureau as to why my claim was denied, I get a call from the legal department stating, we reviewed your complaint, and we are going to allow we're going to allow it to go through, the claim to go through to process. So, several months, my vehicle sits on the lot at South Oak Dodge. They contact the CarShield. CarShield gets in touch with them. They say, we're going to send over an engine, a replacement engine for Mr. Brown's vehicle. Now, remember all this started from the original lie that was told when I took my vehicle there the first time, when I took it in there for intermix. All this perhaps could have been avoided, right? But since Tom Vick lied and said he did all those tests, gave me my vehicle back, and I drove it around a little bit, and then I knew something was right and wasn't right with it. It was still intermix going on with it anyway, so CarShield would have still been contractually bound to repair the vehicle because there was still a mechanical issue going on. But Tom Vick did not have to lie to me and say that he did do the pressure test, the diet test, and all that, when that never happened. Or he wouldn't have given it back to me, and then I bring it back to them a short while later with oil pouring out all over everywhere, profusely, right? So my car sits there again for another 4 to 6 months. CarShield agrees to send over an engine. CarShield sends over the engine. Nice engine. Running fine and everything. For a minute. Right? CarShield sends over the engine. South Oak Dodge installs the engine. Follow me with what I'm about to say to you. When CarShield sent over the engine, South Oak Dodge installed the engine. They again entered the contractual agreement with myself, CarShield, and that whole thing, the policy, the CarShield policy that I have. Now it's a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty on the engine, right? South Oak Dodge takes out my old engine. The engine that I just put the new starter, they put the new starter in. On the receipt, he said that the starter was bad and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, I just brought that engine. Did you look at the old invoices? They were supposed to take the other parts off of my old engine and put them, if they were not working properly, onto the replacement engine. They didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. So they tried to charge me for it, right? So the bill was like $4,000 something. CarShield only sent them like $2,800, $2,600, $2,700, $2,800, right? So when they took my old engine out and put the replacement engine in, they saw that the gas pan was too big on the new engine. So they had to take the engine back out after installing it, because they never could get it to fit. It kept hitting something. They had to take the engine back out, replace it with my engine off of my old engine. And when they did that, they didn't change the gaskets or secure it properly or whatever and make sure it wasn't leaking. Because now, currently, oil is shooting out of the gaskets on the oil pan, right? But wait, because it gets gooder. When they took the engine out and they changed the oil pan and got it to where it fits down in there, they didn't bother to change the rear gaskets or rear seals. And when they didn't do that, oil was shooting out everywhere. Right? So I get a call from them. Your vehicle is ready for pickup or whatever. Oh, no. I went to South Oak Dodge to check on the status of the vehicle. And it's parked in the back, way in the back. And I was like, well, what's going on with my vehicle? Oh, it's done. Nobody bothered to even call me to let me know that it was done. Right? And according to CarShield's contract, before they release the vehicle to me, they have to make sure that the vehicle is safe to drive and that there are no leaks and no this or no that it's safe. Because if I'm driving the vehicle and oil is shooting out everywhere and somebody come behind me and then they hit the oil patch and they slide and cause a collision, then it's not safe now, is it? You know. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that the oil was shooting out from the oil pan and the rear gasket where the engine meets the transmission. There are gaskets in there. And when they took the old engine out and installed the replacement engine, they didn't bother to change those gaskets at all. And when I asked Jonathan Jeffries, who's the manager over the entire repair area at South Oak Dodge, I asked, well, did you all bother to change the gaskets? Because there's oil leaking. He said, oh, yeah, I'm sure oil should be leaking everywhere in that vehicle. That threw me first. The purpose is to keep the oil inside of the engine. That's what I thought. At least, but I could be wrong. But the purpose is oil should remain inside of. That's what I brought it there in the first place, because oil was shooting out. So when I asked, I said, well, did you all bother to change? Did you bother to change the gaskets and the seals? Oh, no. We didn't. We put in what CarShield sent. We didn't bother to change any gaskets, any seals. We noticed there was a leak in the front seal, and we fixed that. We got that to stop leaking. But no, we didn't change any gaskets or any seal. We installed what CarShield sent us. His words, exactly. Jonathan Jeffrey, the manager, the big manager over the repair shop at CarShield. I said, well, why didn't you all, the engine was out. Why didn't you all change it? Oh, no. Well, labor and time and labor, and no, we're not doing anything. That man wrote on my receipts, no warranty on labor, parts, or anything. CarShield's warranty, nothing. So that means they breached the contract. They did not stick to the contractual agreement with CarShield and myself. And that's fine. Whatever reason, that's their reasoning. But I'm now looking into legal matters on how to pursue. Because when I went back to ask them if they were going to honor the contract or do the repairs to get it to stop leaking, he said, no, we're not doing anything with that vehicle. At that point, I went and spoke to the manager of the entire facility, Mark Hester. I took him all of my receipts and invoices, and I explained everything that occurred. He went and talked to Jonathan Jeffries, and he came back like 7 to 15 minutes later, and he says, well, based on what the repair manager said, no, we're not going to do anything because here's the thing, they're upset because of the amount of money that CarShield sent them. The bill was $4,000. Follow me with what I say. The bill was $4,000 some odd dollars. CarShield only sent them $2,600 to $2,800. The rest of that money I was supposed to have paid. No, that's why I got the warranty, because they were supposed to pay the full amount. So I thought, but then we know the CarShield don't. No. They're going to send you what they think you're worth, not the invoice, because they expect the customer to come out with some out-of-pocket expense. Ain't that nice of CarShield? See, they don't put that in their contractual agreement. They don't write that, not even in small letters of fine print. So anyway, this pisses off Jonathan, who's the manager over the repair shop. Well, no, we're not doing anything with the vehicle because the cost and the labor, and they didn't even send us the total amount for what we were charging, the $4,800 or whatever. So he tailored. I kept all the receipts. I kept all the invoices. The original invoice from when I first went there, the invoice that he tailored and fixed to adjust to where it matches with what CarShield sent, the $4,800 invoice that he gave me originally. I kept I got all of them. The invoice that says that they changed the oil tank, the oil pan. I got the receipts. I got the receipts. Changed the oil pan, didn't change the gaskets. Installed the engine, didn't change the seal or gaskets, and oil leaking everywhere. Help me make that make sense. What was the point? What was the point of putting the engine in? That's why I took my car there in the first place, because the oil was leaking out. Now you give it back to me, and oil is still leaking out. What? Now, let me explain to you why he didn't charge me the difference. Because he has such a compassionate heart. Oh, bless his soul. You know, bless his soul. He has such a compassionate heart. Well, I understood everything you were going through from the beginning of this process, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to fix this to where no out-of-pocket expense to you, blah, blah. Oh, bless your heart. That's so nice. So what you're basically saying is you're covering up for your employee's life. You're covering up for your employee's life. From when I first brought it in, and he told me, in your office, in front of you, and now you have selective amnesia. Well, he may have said that, may or may not have said that. I just don't remember it. I do. I remember it. I heard it clearly. And the voicemail he left me stating that there was no evidence of intermix on the first phone call when he called me. I have that voicemail. And then the voicemail he left me and the invoice that clearly says intermix after I brought it back to you. The cause of mechanical failure was intermix and mechanical components on the inside of the engine, which made it now possible for CarShield to say, okay, it's mechanical failure on the inside of the engine. Now we can approve the claim. Boom, send it through. They send you an engine, you replace it, and you don't change the gaskets and the seals or nothing, and that's okay. And then you think you're doing me a grand favor by not charging me any out-of-pocket costs for your employee's lie, which was probably never addressed. You probably never even spoken to him about it, or you probably did and chuckled about it. Oh, well, Mr. Brown's here because you misspoke about the pressure test, the dye test, the chemical test, and now it's come back, and now it's evident that there is intermix. Where does that leave me now? Because I took my car, pardon me, I took my car on Chicago Road to New World Auto, right past the railroad track. They charged me $1,000 to put a rubber seal into the engine. They had to drop the transmission. So, while John them had it out, they could have just popped it in. When John them had it at South Oak Dodge, they could have just popped it in and put it in and probably installed it. And at New World Auto, they had to drop the transmission, take out the old one. They showed me the old one. I should have took a picture of it. I should have kept them actually, but they threw them away. And they put in the new one, and they put it back together, and they sealed the rear seal. John had already said, remember, that they noticed dripping from the front seal, so they fixed that one. They repaired that one. Why wouldn't you repair the one at the rear? They both needed to be repaired. So that was the first $1,000 hit, right? While up in the air, the guy at New World Auto says, it's leaking. When we have it up there, he gave it back to me. I drove it home. And when I drove it home, I noticed that it was oil leaking at the and I was like, y'all just put the seal in, right? Did y'all do it right? I took it back to New World Auto. He jacked it up again. He said, oh no, it's not leaking from where we fixed it. We fixed it. It's leaking from the oil pan. When we jacked it up, we had to take some of the oil out because of the pressure. The oil pressure was pushing the oil out. So we lowered it down to where the pressure wouldn't lowered the oil level down so that it wouldn't push the oil out, so it wouldn't drip as much. Because now, in order to change the oil pan, that's going to be another $1,000 because it's a four-wheel drive vehicle, which means they need to drop down the four-wheel drive and get that out of the way in order to lower down and still drop the four-wheel drive axle, still lift the engine back up to take loose the thing to get the oil pan out to replace the oil pan gasket. Everything South Oak Dodge should have did while they had the engine out up in the air and they changed the oil pan when they knew that the oil pan that was on the original replacement engine was too big, and they swapped my oil pan that fit. They should have changed the damn gasket or made sure that it was not leaking. So, where am I at? Where am I at with this? Because when I spoke to them, they refused. They said, "No, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything with this." The other Mark Zidlow had returned to work. He was off with a shoulder injury. I went in there and I explained to him that it's still leaking oil and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Mark Zidlow said, well, John is in a meeting right now. I'll go in there, and he printed out the invoice. He said, I'll go in there and I'll discuss it with him to find out what is he going to do on this, and I'll call you tomorrow. I haven't heard anything. I really don't expect to. Coffee, pardon me. So, now, sending emails back and forth to CarShield. Well, I'm having a sticky dilemma. I'm having issues with the vehicle. It's under the 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty, but the repair facility is not willing to honor or fix the vehicle or do anything. They're standing on no warranty. They breached the contract, and he wrote no warranty for labor, blah, 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 this and that and the other. That's not, that he broke the contract with CarShield and myself. So now, speaking with CarShield and getting emails from CarShield, Don Sherlock, who's in the legal department of CarShield, is saying, well, as far as CarShield is concerned, the matter is closed. And I should pull up the, let me see if I can pull it up. And let's see. We did review your concerns and have a list of details, blah, 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 blah. The claim was paid on our end for the covered repairs in conjunction with the engine repair and verified labor on our end. Suggested repair parts, additional labor, they would have advised, blah, 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 blah. They would have had to advise you to make if you paid out of pocket for these parts. Anyway, they're saying, for laborers and parts, suggested they should be willing to warranty any work that failed. Right? That's what CarShield is saying. The matter is closed as far as we're concerned. We cannot force the repair facility to honor any obligations, but would refer you back to the invoices you paid for as to what their warranty would involve. Your contract has been canceled. I canceled the I canceled the contract with CarShield because I was pissed off because they denied the claim so many times. I canceled it, but the contract was still in force when they approved the claim, because you have 30 days, or I forgot what it was, but it was in the 30-day period, so the contract was still in force. And this that's going on now occurred while the contract was still in force, because it's still under that work order. Don't fool with me. Anyway, so your contract has been canceled, so we cannot locate or refer you to another facility to perform additional repairs. All we can advise is to work with the repair facility to honor the warranty for parts, labor, and provide labor they provided, and pay for whatever repairs that are your responsibility out of pocket as necessary. I didn't get that. I'm going to read it again. All we could advise is that all we can advise is to work with the repair facility to honor the warranty for the parts, labors they provided, and pay for whatever repairs that are your responsibility out of pocket as necessary. We couldn't give legal advice on what actions to take against them. You would need to use your best judgment. If you have exhausted all possibilities to work with them, apologies. I couldn't assist you further on this. He's apologizing that he couldn't assist me on further on it, and he's saying use my best judgment if I've exhausted all possibilities of working with South Oak Dodge as far as getting them to honor the 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty. So where does that leave me? What out-of-pocket expenses should I have? What out-of-pocket expenses should I have if they perform the work? And CarShield, they only sent them the $2,800 or whatever, but they gave me a receipt, an invoice, saying that it was paid in full. They accepted the money from CarShield, although it was $4,800. Jonathan Jeffrey tailored it and made it match with what CarShield sent, and said that it was paid in full, which means that you did the work, and based on that invoice, you're still contractually bound. I don't care. I don't care if it was $4,800. I don't care if it was $1 million. You tailored the paperwork to match what CarShield said. Now, even if it was $4,800 and CarShield sent you that, and you said, okay, well, you owe us out of pocket, I'd have made something happen to have gotten you their money. I would have done that. But you took it upon yourself, Jonathan Jeffries. You took it upon yourself to not have me pay any out-of-pocket expenses, because you know the whole dilemma and the whole ordeal that I've been going through with CarShield and South Oak Dodge. South Oak Dodge resulting from your employee's lie, saying that there was no intermix in my engine and giving me my vehicle to drive around, only to discover that oil was pouring out at this point because of intermix. So to cover him and to turn your head to his lie and not hold him accountable, hell, make him pay the difference. It was his lie. That's my thinking. Why should I have to suffer from your employee's lie? CarShield did what they said they was going to do. They sent over the engine, right? They sent over the engine. It may not have been the best engine or whatever, but then it was up to you all to make sure that the engine was installed properly and working and functioning as an engine should, by taking off the brand new starter that I had sent to you all and putting that on, and taking off the brand new water pump that CarShield approved and putting that on, and taking off the spark plugs and the coil packs, because now it's saying that my number 7 the spark plug or whatever and the coil pack is misfiring. The engine is misfiring from the number 7 whatever it is. It's saying that it's a stuck open fuel injector. So I went and I bought a spark plug and a coil pack, and I installed it, and it ran good for a day or so, but then it started doing the rough thing again. I went and got it checked up at AutoZone, and it said that the engine is misfiring because the fuel injector is stuck open. I didn't have any fuel injector issues on my old engine, and based on CarShield's statements and everything, you were to take the parts off of the old engine that were salvageable and put them on to the new replacement engine to make sure that it is functioning as it should. And all gaskets and seals should have been checked and installed properly. So who is it CarShield or is it South Oak Dodge? So this is where I am. And now I'm seeking legal advice on how to proceed with the matter. Because I can file a lawsuit myself and go in and represent myself. I got all the documentation. I got all the voicemails of admittance of guilt. I got the phone call from Tom Vick. I got the phone call from Mark Zitlow. I got the phone call from Jonathan Jeffries. Several. I got voicemails left from South Oak Dodge and phone calls. Because remember, when you call my number, it clearly says all calls are recorded for honesty and integrity purposes. I'm well aware of the Illinois law on recording people without them being informed. I'm well versed in that. So, to cover myself against people who don't know how to be honest, that's the purpose behind that. So, hopefully, if one of y'all would be nice enough to tag one of your news media, I've been trying to get in touch with Samantha Chapman, or I can't think of the other guy's name on the Eyewitness New Team investigative reports or whatever. I've been trying to get, but no one's responding to my thing. But I know they're very busy. They're very busy. I'll try and send them a link to this. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and then I'll send them a link to it, and hopefully they'll take a look at it and find some interest in it, so we can put a spotlight on it, because it's not my first run-in with South Oak Dodge, but this one is very serious. It's serious as far as I'm concerned, as far as contractual agreements and being lied to by their employee, and then being put in this situation. The whole thing with CarShield, how CarShield it's a big scam. It's a scam. You pay them, and then when something happens, you expect to take your, like Ice-T says, all you do is take your vehicle to the repair shop and you just drop the car off and they fix it. They don't mention anything about out-of-pocket costs. You pay them monthly to get the policy, to get the CarShield policy. Well, they do. They probably say, and you pay a small out-of-pocket cost. They probably do mention that. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, it ain't right. It's a scam. It's a gimmick, right? But they did do what they said they were going to do, and they sent over the engine. Now, where did South Oak Dodge go wrong? The employee lied. They took the engine, they installed it, they improperly installed it. They changed the gas. They changed the oil pan to get it to fit down in there. They didn't change the gaskets for the oil pan. Oil is leaking. They took the engine and they installed it. They didn't put the rear seals in to make sure that the engine would not be leaking oil. The purpose of oil going in the engine is for it to stay in the engine. The reason why I took the vehicle there in the first place is because it was oil mixing inside, and it was called intermix. But your employee lied and said, oh no, we did a pressure test, a chemical test, and a dye test, and all of them, and we looked at the dipstick, and there was no intermix on the dipstick, and blah, 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 blah. You release the car to me, I drive it a little while, I come back a little while, probably, I don't know how long. But I bring it back, and oil is shooting out everywhere, only for that same employee to say, oh, well, yeah, there's intermix because your head gasket or your something's internal going on with the... That's what I brought it there for in the first place. Anyway, y'all give me any suggestions or help me fix this. Or show me, give me any suggestions on what I should do next. What I should do next. And if you know anybody that's in Chicago or in Illinois that works for the news media, could you tag them in it or send them a copy of this link for me? I would appreciate it so much. I'm going to continue to try and get in touch with Sam Chapman or Jason Knowles, that's his name, of Channel 7. Thanks for hearing me out. 40 minutes is a long time, but interesting. Interesting. And what it is to keep you from not having to experience what I am experiencing. This is not a yield sign. This is a stop sign. Do not proceed. Car shield. It's best that you get a real warranty from a real reputable place. Car shield, it's a money grab. Money grab. You pay them 99 years. You have a problem with your car, and you send it to the shop, and then you're going to pay out of your pocket. You're going to. So instead of paying them for the 99 years, put that money in a little savings account, a rainy day account. And then you could have paid for it through your rainy day account instead of having to depend on what those people are going to pay. And then it'll keep you from going through this kind of stuff. And as far as South Oak Dodge goes, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting. Y'all have a wonderful evening and happy holidays to you. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.